Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something powerful, something that defines the strength of a man's character: loyalty. A loyal man is not just someone who stands by you. He gives his heart, his trust, and his unwavering commitment. He believes in people, in love, in friendship, and in promises. But what happens when that loyalty is betrayed? What happens when a man who has given his all is left hurt, broken, and abandoned? Does he fall? Does he give up? No, a loyal man doesn't stay broken. He rises stronger than ever, because pain is not his weakness, it becomes his fuel. Betrayal is not his downfall, it becomes his lesson. And when a loyal man rises from the hurt, he is no longer the same. He is wiser, more resilient, and unstoppable. Today, I want to remind you that every setback, every betrayal, and every moment of pain is just another step in your journey toward greatness. Because once you hurt a loyal man, he doesn't stay down. He transforms into the strongest version of himself. Now, let's talk about how. Let me know if you want a different Pain is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. It has the ability to break a person, but it also has the potential to transform them into something far greater than they ever imagined. When a loyal man is hurt, he does not simply remain in pain. He channels it into fuel for his growth. Unlike those who let pain consume them, he turns it into an opportunity to elevate himself mentally, emotionally, and physically. This suffering is not an end, but a beginning, a catalyst for his evolution. A loyal man invests deeply in his relationships, whether in love, friendship, or business. His word is his bond, and he believes in standing by those he cares about through thick and thin. When he commits, he does so with his whole heart, expecting honesty, respect, and reciprocity. However, when this loyalty is met with betrayal, deception, or abandonment, it shakes him to his core. The pain he feels is not just about the act itself, but the realization that those he believed in did not value his commitment the same way he valued theirs. This realization is not just heartbreaking, it is transformative. Initially, the pain is overwhelming. It feels like a storm crashing down on him, leaving him lost, confused, and questioning his worth. He replays moments in his mind, trying to understand where things went wrong. He wonders if he gave too much, trusted too easily, or ignored the warning signs. The weight of this emotional turmoil can be crushing, but this is where the real transformation begins. Unlike those who allow pain to make them bitter or vengeful, a loyal man chooses a different path. He does not allow his suffering to define him negatively. Instead, he lets it mold him into a stronger, wiser version of himself. He begins to channel his pain into self-improvement. He takes the energy he once poured into others and redirects it inward. He strengthens his mind by seeking knowledge, understanding human nature, and developing emotional intelligence. He reads, he learns, and he grows. He realizes that pain is a lesson, a teacher that, if embraced correctly, can propel him to new heights. Instead of drowning in self-pity, he uses his hurt as motivation to elevate himself beyond the circumstances that caused him pain in the first place. Physical growth often follows emotional turmoil. Many loyal men turn to fitness, sports, or other physical challenges as an outlet for their pain. They push themselves harder, lift heavier, run faster, and train longer. Every drop of sweat, every sore muscle, and every moment of exhaustion is a testament to their resilience. They transform their bodies as a reflection of their inner strength. This physical transformation is not just about appearance. It is about discipline, self-control, and proving to themselves that they are capable of enduring and overcoming anything. Beyond the physical, a loyal man grows mentally and emotionally. He learns to set boundaries, to value himself more, and to be more selective about whom he allows into his life. Pain teaches him the importance of self-respect and the necessity of guarding his heart against those who do not appreciate it. He no longer gives his loyalty blindly, but ensures that those who receive it have earned it. This shift in mindset does not make him cold or distant. Rather, it makes him wiser and more intentional about his connections. As he continues to grow, he begins to understand that pain is not a punishment, but a redirection. It is life's way of pushing him towards something better, something greater. The betrayal or hurt he experienced was not meant to break him, but to prepare him for something beyond what he could have imagined. He realizes that the version of himself before the pain was good, but the version of himself after it is unstoppable. He starts to appreciate the struggle, knowing that without it he would not have discovered his true strength. He embraces the challenge of rising above his circumstances, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to come back stronger. He no longer fears pain. He welcomes it as a sign of growth, a reminder that he is evolving into a higher version of himself. A loyal man's transformation is not immediate. It is a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and self-reflection. There are moments of doubt, moments of frustration, and moments where the past tries to pull him back. But he keeps moving forward. He does not let his pain define him negatively. Instead, he lets it shape him into someone who is wiser, stronger, and more resilient than ever before. Through this process, he discovers new passions, new ambitions, and new goals. He realizes that the energy he once devoted to people who did not value him can now be used to build a future that aligns with his true worth. He starts to chase dreams he once put aside, invest in himself like never before, and create a life that reflects his growth. His pain, once seen as a burden, becomes his greatest source of strength. When a loyal man is betrayed, the immediate reaction is pain, confusion, and disbelief. He trusted wholeheartedly, gave without expecting anything in return, and stood by those he believed in, thinking they would do the same for him. But when that trust is broken, when someone he valued turns their back on him, he is forced to face a harsh truth. Not everyone shares the same heart as him. The pain of betrayal is not just about losing a person. It is about losing the belief that loyalty is always reciprocated. He finds himself questioning his choices, wondering if he was blind to the signs, if he gave too much, or if he was simply too naive. However, in this painful realization lies one of the greatest lessons he will ever learn. Who truly deserves his loyalty? At first, the lesson is bitter. The weight of disappointment settles in as he replays memories, trying to understand where things went wrong. He recalls the moments he stood up for people who wouldn't do the same for him, the times he prioritized others over himself, and the sacrifices he made that went unnoticed. These realizations hit hard because they force him to accept that not everyone values integrity the way he does. It is not that he was wrong for being loyal. It is that he gave his loyalty to the wrong people. He begins to see the patterns he once ignored, the red flags he dismissed in the name of love, friendship, or duty. He recognizes that some people only stayed because of what he could offer, not because they truly cared for him. This newfound awareness does not harden his heart, but sharpens his mind. He understands that loyalty is a rare trait, and just because he possesses it does not mean others do. He starts to observe people differently, noticing how they treat him when they no longer need him, how they speak about him when he is not around, and whether their actions align with their words. He no longer assumes that someone is genuine simply because they claim to be. Instead, he watches, listens, and discerns. He learns to distinguish between those who truly appreciate his presence and those who merely tolerate it for their own benefit. Through this painful yet valuable lesson, he also realizes the importance of reciprocity. He understands that loyalty should never be one-sided. It is not about endlessly giving while receiving nothing in return. It is about mutual respect, trust, and support. He begins to set higher standards for the people he allows into his life. No longer does he tolerate half-hearted efforts, empty promises, or insincere words. He values actions over intentions, consistency over convenience, and authenticity over appearances. The betrayal he experienced becomes the lens through which he filters those who are worthy of his time and energy. This transformation is not about becoming cold or distant. It is about becoming wise. A loyal man does not stop being loyal. He simply becomes more selective about whom he is loyal to. He learns that true relationships, whether in friendship, love, or business, are built on mutual effort. He no longer chases those who walk away, nor does he beg for the attention of those who take him for granted. He respects himself enough to walk away from anything that does not align with his values. He begins to invest in those who uplift him, who show up for him the way he has always shown up for others. As he navigates this new perspective, he also starts appreciating the people who have remained true to him. Betrayal has a way of magnifying the value of those who have never faltered. He realizes that while some have walked away, there are others who have always stood by his side, often without him noticing. He begins to nurture these relationships, giving his time and effort to those who genuinely care. His loyalty is no longer wasted on those who do not deserve it. Instead, it is directed toward the ones who have proven themselves through their actions. This shift in mindset extends beyond personal relationships. He applies the same principles to every aspect of his life, whether in business, career, or ambitions. He no longer entertains partnerships that lack integrity, nor does he compromise his values for the sake of fitting in. He understands that loyalty to himself is just as important as loyalty to others. He prioritizes his goals, his peace, and his growth, knowing that those who truly support him will never require him to betray himself for their benefit. The lesson of betrayal is a painful one, but it is also a necessary one. It teaches him that not all losses are true losses. Sometimes they are blessings in disguise. It forces him to reevaluate who he allows into his space and reminds him that loyalty, when given to the right people, is one of the most powerful forces in life. The experience refines him, making him stronger, wiser, and more intentional with his time and energy. He no longer seeks validation from those who do not appreciate him. Instead, he focuses on building meaningful connections, on surrounding himself with people who value his presence, and on creating a life that aligns with his true worth. Adversity has a way of revealing a person's true character. When a loyal man experiences betrayal, disappointment, or hardship, he is confronted with a choice. Let the pain consume him or use it to become stronger. The strength that comes through adversity is not immediate, nor is it easy. It is forged in the moments of struggle, in the quiet battles fought alone, and in the resilience that develops when he refuses to be defeated. A loyal man does not allow adversity to define him negatively. He allows it to refine him into someone even stronger than before. At first, adversity feels like a crushing weight. The betrayal of trust, the loss of something or someone important, or the realization that the world does not always reward integrity can be overwhelming. He is left questioning himself, wondering if he was too trusting, too open, or too giving. The emotional turmoil is intense because he never expected to be in this position. He held on to the belief that his loyalty, honesty, and kindness would be met with the same in return. When that belief is shattered, the pain is profound. Yet it is in these moments of deep pain that his true strength begins to emerge. He understands that adversity is not an indication of weakness. It is an opportunity for growth. He may have been knocked down, but he refuses to stay there. The initial shock and sadness slowly give way to a fire within him, a determination to rise above what was meant to break him. He begins to see adversity as a challenge, something that will not only test him, but ultimately make him stronger. He starts by taking control of his emotions. While pain is unavoidable, dwelling in it is a choice. He acknowledges his feelings, allows himself to process them, but refuses to let them dictate his future. He shifts his focus from what was lost to what can be gained. He redirects his energy away from bitterness and towards self-improvement. Instead of seeking revenge or validation from those who hurt him, he chooses to invest in himself. His mind becomes sharper as he learns from his experiences. Every setback teaches him something valuable: who he can trust, what truly matters, and how to navigate life with wisdom. He studies human behavior more closely, understanding that not everyone operates with the same values as he does. He develops emotional intelligence, recognizing patterns in people and situations that he once overlooked. He no longer reacts impulsively, but responds with thoughtfulness and strategy. He uses adversity as a lesson, ensuring that he will never be caught off guard in the same way again. Physically, he pushes himself harder. Many loyal men turn to fitness, sports, or other physical challenges as an outlet for their frustration. He channels his energy into building a stronger body, knowing that physical strength mirrors mental strength. He trains not just to look better, but to feel more powerful, more disciplined, and more in control. He embraces the discomfort of pushing past his limits because he knows that every drop of sweat, every sore muscle, and every moment of exhaustion is a reminder of his resilience. His discipline extends beyond the physical and into every aspect of his life. He sets higher standards for himself, refusing to accept mediocrity. He becomes more focused on his goals, whether in his career, personal development, or relationships. Adversity forces him to evaluate what he truly wants, what is worth his time, and what no longer serves him. He cuts out distractions, distances himself from negativity, and surrounds himself with people who uplift and inspire him. Through hardship, he learns patience. He understands that growth takes time, and that true strength is not about immediate victories, but long-term endurance. He no longer seeks instant gratification, but instead embraces the journey of self-improvement. He builds his confidence not from external validation, but from the knowledge that he has faced challenges and overcome them. He develops an unshakable belief in himself, knowing that no matter what comes his way, he has the ability to handle it. As he continues to grow, he notices that adversity no longer shakes him the way it once did. He becomes more resilient, more adaptable, and more unbreakable. The things that once would have devastated him now only serve as minor setbacks, temporary obstacles that he knows he can overcome. He is no longer afraid of pain, failure, or loss because he has been through it before and come out stronger. His transformation is not just about personal gain. As he rises above adversity, he becomes an inspiration to others. He leads by example, showing that hardship is not an excuse to give up, but a reason to push forward. He shares his wisdom with those who are struggling, offering guidance and support to those who need it. His strength becomes a beacon for others, proving that resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them head-on and emerging stronger. Adversity becomes his greatest teacher, shaping him into a version of himself that is wiser, tougher, and more prepared for whatever lies ahead. Every hardship he has endured has only added to his strength, reinforcing the idea that he is capable of overcoming anything. He no longer fears challenges, but embraces them as opportunities to grow. He has faced the worst and refused to be defeated. When a loyal man experiences betrayal, disappointment, or hardship, something within him changes. He is no longer the person who blindly trusts, gives endlessly without question, or waits for others to reciprocate his efforts. Instead, he evolves into a version of himself that is stronger, wiser, and untouchable. This transformation is not immediate, nor is it easy. It is a process that comes from deep reflection, self-discovery, and a commitment to never allowing the same pain to break him again. The first stage of this transformation begins with detachment. He realizes that the people or situations that caused him pain no longer deserve a place in his life. He no longer chases after those who walked away, nor does he seek explanations from those who hurt him. He understands that not everyone is meant to stay, and not everyone deserves access to his loyalty. This detachment is not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. He refuses to waste his time, energy, or emotions on people who have shown him that they do not value his presence. As he distances himself from negativity, he begins to focus inward. He redirects all the energy he once poured into others toward himself. He starts to prioritize his own growth, ambitions, and well-being. He sets goals that align with his true potential, pushing himself beyond his previous limitations. He no longer waits for validation or support from others. He becomes his own source of motivation. Every step he takes towards self-improvement reinforces the idea that he does not need anyone else to define his worth. This transformation extends to his mindset. He develops a newfound sense of clarity about life, relationships, and success. He no longer sees pain as a setback, but as a lesson. Every hardship he has endured has taught him something valuable. Who is truly there for him? What is worth his time? And how to navigate life with wisdom. He no longer reacts emotionally to betrayal or loss. Instead, he observes, learns, and adapts. He understands that dwelling on the past will not change it, so he chooses to move forward with a clear vision. His confidence grows, not from arrogance, but from experience. He has faced pain, rejection, and disappointment, yet he has not allowed them to break him. Instead, he has used them as fuel to become better. He carries himself differently, with a quiet strength that commands respect. He no longer seeks approval or acceptance from those who once disregarded him. He walks away from situations that do not serve him without hesitation. His presence becomes powerful because he knows his worth, and he refuses to settle for anything less. Physically, he pushes himself to new heights. Whether through fitness, sports, or other challenges, he uses his body as a tool to manifest his inner strength. He trains with intensity, knowing that every rep, every drop of sweat, and every moment of exhaustion is a symbol of his resilience. He becomes disciplined, understanding that true strength is built through consistency and perseverance. His body becomes a reflection of his transformation, not just in appearance, but in the unshakable mindset that comes with it. Emotionally, he becomes unbreakable. He no longer allows the actions of others to dictate his happiness. He understands that he cannot control how people treat him, but he can control how he responds. He chooses to rise above negativity, to remain unshaken in the face of betrayal, and to keep his peace regardless of external circumstances. He develops a level of emotional control that prevents others from having power over him. No longer is he easily manipulated, guilt-tripped, or swayed by empty words. He sees through deception, and he does not entertain games or drama. His circle becomes smaller but stronger. He no longer entertains superficial relationships or one-sided friendships. He surrounds himself with people who genuinely support him, who uplift him, and who add value to his life. He understands that quality matters more than quantity when it comes to relationships. He invests in those who have proven themselves, and he has no hesitation in cutting off those who do not align with his standards. He protects his energy fiercely, ensuring that only those who deserve his loyalty receive it. His ambitions take center stage. He becomes relentless in his pursuit of success, whether in his career, personal growth, or creative endeavors. He no longer procrastinates or makes excuses. He takes action. He works harder, thinks smarter, and pushes himself beyond what he once believed possible. Every obstacle becomes a challenge to overcome. Every failure a stepping stone toward greatness. His vision is clear, and nothing distracts him from his path. He no longer waits for opportunities, he creates them. As he evolves, he realizes that the things that once hurt him no longer hold power over him. The people who betrayed him become insignificant in his journey. The losses he once mourned become blessings in disguise. He no longer feels anger or resentment. Instead, he feels gratitude for the lessons he has learned. He understands that everything that happened was necessary for his transformation. Without the pain, he would not have discovered his true strength. His presence becomes magnetic. People notice the change in him, not just in the way he looks or acts, but in the energy he carries. He exudes confidence, self-assurance, and a quiet power that speaks volumes without saying a word. He no longer needs to prove himself to anyone. His actions speak for themselves. Those who once took him for granted now see what they lost, but he no longer seeks their recognition. He has moved beyond needing external validation because he has built something far greater within himself. His evolution is not about revenge or proving others wrong. It is about proving to himself that he is capable of becoming the strongest, most unstoppable version of himself. Every challenge he has faced, every betrayal he has endured, and every hardship he has overcome has shaped him into a man who cannot be broken. He has risen from the pain, and in doing so, he has become someone that no one can reach in the same way again.